Hi everyone, welcome to today's live broadcast of John Khosravi. That's me, again, live broadcast discussing immigration law as I do every Monday through Friday live here on TikTok, Immigration Lawyer John, Tuesdays on Instagram, and as always saved on YouTube for it to follow later. Here we're doing a Q&A discussing immigration law with the US and just answering general questions, not case-specific questions, but general questions and issues that people are dealing with in this regard. And there's a lot of issues to deal with because of how difficult the administration is with regards to U.S. immigration. So I'm here to kind of help out, just to explain what's going on to the extent possible. We're going to have an introduction and talk about the Visa Bulletin update that was released today. And as people are trickling in, leave your questions and your comments and we'll get through those for the next half hour. Again, it's Monday through Friday doing this every day on TikTok, Tuesdays and Thursdays on Instagram, and the video is there as well on YouTube. Please note this is not case-specific advice. This is just general guidance for people to know more about the immigration system. Please consult with an immigration attorney in private for help on your case. So just one second, let me grab my notes. So please like the Visa Bulletin was released. And this is a really special period of the month where people get really interested. I'm going to do a quick breakdown of what the Visa Bulletin is because people might not understand what that is and then take it from there. Sorry, someone said, you got an OnlyFans though? I'm not even sure what OnlyFans are. Is that for like people doing dancing or something like that? I don't know. I don't have an OnlyFans page. But let me get back to the Visa Bulletin. So the Visa Bulletin was created because there's a backlog, a line that emerges for people that are applying for U.S. green cards. If you're applying for a green card based on most family type cases, not immediate relatives, not spouses of U.S. citizens, parents of U.S. citizens, or children, but everyone else, there's a line that comes because there's a limited number of green cards available. Also, employment-based cases, people getting a green card through work, there's only a limited number of those that come on. So each year are put out, so there's a line that emerges. And what they do is the day you filed your case, and in the case of some employment cases, the day the labor cert is filed, you get your place in line. So let's say you started your case on February 1st, 1995, that's your place in line. And the Visa Bulletin is this chart that gets updated every month. And once that chart, the date that's on it, passes the day that you started your case, that's when you could take your case to the next level. Like you could start applying some paperwork that's needed, or you could have the green card issued potentially. So this month's Visa Bulletin came out. It had a few interesting points. In general, you got to keep in mind, there's a lot of different travel bans that are happening that have stalled the process. So these timelines are really messed up. And most likely some visa categories, some immigrant visas or green card categories are not going to be used up this year. They're just going to be left and burned out because these visa bans prevent them from being used up. And they have to be used this year or you lose out on it. For example, for the people that were lucky enough to be chosen in the green card visa lottery, if they don't have their interviews and the case isn't approved before the end of September, then they're out. They lose a chance to get the green card based on the lottery, which is horrible. But right now, most embassies are closed. Some of them are starting to open. And interviews are not happening for adjustment of status in the United States. So these people are on a deadline. If they don't get their case done in time, they lose this wonderful opportunity that they had. So it's a sad situation, but it's something important to know before looking into this stuff for people that have immigrant visa cases pending. So let's talk about the family-based categories. The F2A, these are spouses and children of green card holders, is current. So there's no line in that kind of category, and it's going to be left open for a while. So that's a positive thing. So if you do have that kind of case, you could get your green card much faster than historically could happen. And moving on to employment-based, EB1 category has shot up. It's faster. EB2 for Indians has jumped a whole year almost from June 2006 to May 2017. So that's a positive. But on the other side, that the final action date they can issue the green card has moved up, but not as much the date of filing date, which is when they can start the paperwork for it. So it keeps them stalled in a weird way. If you have these kind of cases, you know what I mean. If you're in the U.S. and you are on H-1B, for example, you can't start filing your paperwork until the date of filing. The secondary chart reaches your time, and that one hasn't moved up, unfortunately. So these are the kind of things that are happening. There's not much, I would say, that's game changer. Everything's slowed down, kind of. But just keep an eye on this. Just type in Visa Bulletin on Google, and the site that comes up for USCIS, from Department of State, will have the information related to the Visa Bulletin. You can check your timelines there. So let's go to some questions that are popping up. Bossing says, hi sir, when immigration reopened for international? The question doesn't make sense. For international, doesn't make sense. So immigration has reopened. And it's been open. It depends on what kind of case or what kind of issue that you have. Juicy says, let me hold $1 though, Lord. I don't know what you're talking about, but thank you. Let me see. So we got a lot of people in the group. Madi asks, my Asylum EAD clock has stopped. What could be the reason for that, please? I don't know. I don't know your case to be able to answer that. You should consult with an attorney in private. Okay, so that was the questions so far, but thank you everyone who's joined the group. Let me discuss the visa bulletin a little more in a little more detail. So one thing that causes confusion with the visa bulletin is the fact that there's 2 charts there now. So there's a first chart for each category, like a family-based, and that says a date of action. A date of action is the date they could actually print out and issue the green card. There's also a date of filing, and that's when you can submit the paperwork to start the green card process. So that was the second chart. The date of filing was begun during President Obama's administration to kind of help people out to start the process sooner, because back in the day, you have to wait till your green card is approvable and printable before you can even start the paperwork. And so this costs you would have to wait much longer to get stuff started. But if you're in the United States and you file to start the paperwork sooner, you could wait in the United States, you get a work permit faster, all this kind of stuff. But one thing is important to note that there is a visa bulletin, but there's also a USCIS interpretation of it, and it depends on how USCIS thinks about the case, whether they're going to use what's called the date of filing or the date of action. As you can tell, it's kind of confusing. Best to do is just consult an immigration attorney to help guide you through it. Fadi asks, my son, he have a green card. You need to marry, and she doesn't have a green card or any paper. Okay, I think you're saying that your son has a green card, he wants to get married, but his fiance doesn't have any documentation. Well, that's going to be a major problem. She needs to have valid status to be able to do something. If she entered unlawfully or overstayed, it's going to be a troublesome. You might need a waiver, might have to leave the United States. It becomes a problem. You might be stuck outside, especially with the current COVID travel ban. It's not clear what's going to happen. So just consult with an immigration attorney to get some help and some guidance on that issue. Calvin says, can I apply for citizenship if my green card is still pending? I think you mean I-751 is still pending. You can if that's the case, but I don't know. I'll have to see what's going on with your case. Farkhan says, how are you? Love your videos. Thank you, Farkhan. I appreciate that. You can catch a lot more videos on YouTube. JQK Law Firm is the name there, and it'd be great. Thank you, Farkhan. I got you. They have a lot more information there. A lot of these good questions that come. I get clips of them and I post them there so that you could watch those, listen to those, and get some ideas on those. But there's a lot of movement, a lot of things going on in immigration. So one thing is, you might have heard, there's this one article that was put out by a news agency called Roll Call, which alleged that USCIS has stopped adjusting status or allowing green cards to be issued from within the United States. So, I don't know if that's true or not. We don't have good sources on it. What we know is that USCIS, now that they're reopening the interview process, has said at local office meetings I've talked with that their sole focus right now is on naturalization and on oath ceremony. So people applying for citizenship have the priority until they look into green card interviews, adjustment status interviews. But in the meantime, I've seen green card cases that did not require interviews being approved. So I'm not sure if that story is true. I'm not sure if they stopped it. It was after a certain date, or well, I don't know what's going on. USCIS has not properly commented. The story was not clear. I assume it was just a misunderstanding that's going on. So we'll see what happens. But if your case is pending, you should apply for EAD or AP just to have those and just wait for it to happen. Madi asks, is it okay to give fingerprints in a different state other than the filing state? I'm not sure what you mean. So if you have a biometrics appointment and you couldn't go to the local one that was scheduled there, you could go to another biometrics location if they accept you, but that's about it. But I see your case to see exactly what you're talking about. It's kind of a peculiar thing that you're saying. So, shoot out your questions as we're going here, and we'll discuss it and we'll go into it. Thank you everyone who's on Instagram and watching. The immigration process is a confusing process. I mean, I have friends contact me right now. I had a friend who asked for my advice on this. I wasn't even sure what to say. The person was applying for an extension of their visa status. They were an investor, and USCIS said, no, we have records from Canada that said your client left the United States and is in Canada right now. And the client's right there. It's like they never left. So how are you going to fight them on this? And so now I have to figure out how to do that. They're asking my advice on it. I gave them some tidbits of information. Maybe contact the congressperson, ombudsman office, contact the national liaison at the Immigration Lawyers Group's connection with the Border Protection to see what's going on, because none of this makes any sense. But these are the kind of things that happen with immigration. Sayed says, after being approved after second marriage interview, how long will it take for green card to arrive? However long it takes. There's no fixed time on that. Najmu says, I live in California. Do you know if there's USCIS offices are open over here? They're open, but it depends on what you need it for. So it depends on your case and the urgency of it and what kind of issue it is. So it's really case specific. Just consult attorney in private to review what kind of case you have to see what the best way to deal with that issue is over there. Thank you everyone on Instagram who's joining. We have our Tuesdays and Thursdays over here. We'll take any questions you have and do our best to answer them. I have multiple cameras here, and the main camera, which is the most expensive, one of the most expensive cameras, is like the lowest quality. This a little less expensive camera I have here on Instagram is much better quality. So it's weird how these phones all work out. One's color is different, one's not. It's a weird situation. But getting back to immigration, I was talking about a friend. Yeah, so the USCIS said, you left the country, not here. We can't extend your status. Now they're stuck. They're going to go out of status. It's such a weird situation. User 47 asks, are USCIS doing tourist visa application at this point or not? USCIS doesn't do tourist visa applications. That's the U.S. Embassy that does that. USCIS does do visa extensions, like tourist visa extensions. They never stopped doing that. But if you mean the U.S. embassies, most embassies are closed, but they're going to start reopening. If you want to know if your local embassy that you would be going to is open, go to their website, the U.S. Embassy's website for that country, and visit and see what their schedule is. They may be open, they may not. They may have scheduling open. It's really a case-by-case and location-by-location situation. Nan says, my N400, that's for citizenship, is still under review since August 2019. I have not received any updates yet. I don't know, I have to see your case to see what's going on. If you filed your case in August 2019, you have to do an interview. Interview's been shut down, so that's nothing abnormal. So I don't know. I have to see your office. Maybe there's an issue there. Fadi asks, where's your office, please? I'm in Los Angeles. However, I'm doing all consultations by video, so my location wouldn't even matter. I wouldn't even meet with you in person. It'll only be done by video. Zoom teleconference would happen. So if you're interested, email me info@jqqlaw.com and describe shortly what the immigration issue is that you have. If it's something I handle, we do a consultation. There is a fee for that, and then we take it from there. Sayed asks, how long does it take for NBC to process the parents' DS-260 and financial documents? Sometimes 3 weeks, sometimes 3 months, sometimes they lose it. So you just submit it and you wait. That's what you got to do. But all these questions about time, we're dealing with a fast-moving thing. We're dealing with people who make mistakes, people who don't do their job sometimes, people who lose stuff, documents that are missing. There's a lot of things that go on. So it's timeline questions, honestly, are just not realistic. I really think, unless something's taking like a year or two longer than it's supposed to, and consult an attorney to see exactly with your case what it's supposed to is. It's hard to say without knowing the details of your case. But other than that, you just got to be patient. Hi, Mina. Thank you for joining the group. Let me know if you have an immigration case pending and you wanted some clarifications on it. To the extent that we can, we'll talk about it. Can't provide timelines. Go to uscis.gov. Go to the Department of State's website. You'll get some bad timelines or unreliable timelines there. But I don't want to, guess on unreliable timelines. It's just not what I do. And thank you, everyone, for joining on Instagram, too. I see you all. I appreciate it for joining and asking questions. Faith asks, still no update on expected Supreme Court ruling on DACA? No, they're doing everything else. They just did this, LGBT case that was really big yesterday or day before yesterday, but no updates on DACA. My guess is they're going to hold off until the country kind of calms down before releasing it because it's a hot button issue, especially if they have a negative interpretation of the case. User 47 says, before how many days can I apply for citizenship after a green card? After how many days? Well, it depends on what kind of case you have. If you've been married to a U.S. citizen for the last 3 years, 2 years and 9 months at a minimum, or if it's a 5-year case, 4 years and 9 months after the green card is issued. But it depends on a lot more things about your personal background. So I need to review that to see if you had a lot of travels or not, and what the personal history is, you had arrests, all that kind of stuff. Bluehost asks, hello, I applied for renewal of EAD, but now conforma? I'm not sure what you mean, conforma. User 471 asks, I have asylum green card. Okay, congrats. So that's good you have that. It's just a green card. It's not an asylum green card. It's a green card. And around 4 years after that's issued, or 5 years from, it's 4 years after you get the green card, you can file for U.S. citizenship. Look at your green card. The issue date that's listed on there, you can do it at least 4 years and 9 months later, but it depends on your background. So there's a lot of things we have to know about your background. Primarily, your travel history to see if your dates are correct, your absences and your presences in the United States. Then we got to look if you've been paying taxes, have you had any criminal history, what the situation with your asylum was it properly done, was there anything that's going to be problematic later, was there any misrepresentation. There's a lot of things that we have to look for. Blue Host follows up, but no confirmation form. The letter is more, okay, so you filed for your work permit, no confirmation form. I don't know, you're supposed to get a receipt. Did they cash a check for it? That's an indication that they got it. Contact USCIS to see where the receipt is. Said asks, what question does the USCIS officer ask parents immigration interview at embassy? So USCIS does not ask your parents anything. When your parents go to the embassy, that's the Department of State, that's the embassy system. USCIS has nothing to do with that. Now, what they ask your parents generally, they may ask about the relationship you have, review their documents, and look at their background to see if they've had any military experience, any situation related to terrorism, all these inadmissibility questions about history. It's really specific to your background. So each person has a different background from a different country, different life experiences, and they look to see if there's any red flags and they push on those. So I have to know about your parents to see what the situation is there. If they're really elderly, are they going to come here and use medical bills and stuff like that? Could they afford to come here and pay for health insurance? There's a lot of these things that President Trump has added. But what they ask, the questions that you need to know and think about are case specific. So I can just talk about a lot of stuff here that has nothing to do with your case and be a waste of time. You really should just contact the lawyer and talk with them in private, have your parents talk with them to go over their history to see if there's any red flags that could be problematic for your parents' case. Also to review their documents. There might be document issues that are incorrect. So it really is a case-by-case specific issue you need to consult with a lawyer with. Mina says, please help me to find a family attorney for my divorce. I'm new here, it's very expensive. Yeah, it's very expensive, unfortunately. I can't help finding an attorney. Look at one of these directory sites, go on Yelp, call a lot of people to get some different opinions, different quotes, and all that, but I'm not a director. I can't help you with that, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't know anyone that can help you there. I'm sorry. User Rigor says, I need help with my fiance case. Well, schedule a consultation in my office. We'll see what's going on. If you've already submitted the application, just email my office a breakdown what you need help with, and I'll follow up with you to see if I can help or we can have a consultation. The consultation fee will be discussed at that time. But if my email is info@jqqlaw.com. Mr. Terms and Conditions asks, getting a speeding ticket, does it affect green card process? Well, it can. It depends on what the terms of the speeding ticket are. If it's reckless endangerment, it's a problem. In some states in America, a speeding ticket could be a significant misdemeanor. And it has potentially jail time. So it depends on what the ticket was for, what location, what state it was in, what the exact statute it's under. That's something I'd have to review. Typically, it's not a problem, but I was reading some communications with one of the U.S. embassies, and they asked them this question. They said this example, I think it was in Virginia, a speeding ticket could be a significant misdemeanor, which could lead to it being a problem for getting a green card, being inadmissibility. So I need to know exactly what's going on in your case, what your ticket's about, before I can answer that question. Most likely it's not a problem, but again, without knowing your case facts, I can't help you with that information. Chrissy asks, hi, I live in New York. Are open offices for fingerprints? They generally haven't opened up biometrics yet. When they will, you'll get a notice. You can't just show up there anyways, so just be patient and you'll get the notice when it comes. Sid says, I was born here when my parents came here on a tourist visa. Could that be a problem for their case? Nowadays, I'm not sure. Nowadays, it is somewhat of a problem. Look into if your parents paid for your birth or not. Depends on how difficult the embassy officer wants to be. So after Trump came, they made a big deal about people being born in the United States to parents on U.S. citizens called birther tourism. And it's a hot button issue for people that are anti-immigration in particular. And so one thing that's happening is when they're reviewing a green card case, if they see someone had their child in the U.S. on a tourist visa, in some cases they're asking, well, bring us the hospital bill and show us that you paid for it. If you didn't, that shows that you used government services in the United States, the government paid for it, and you didn't pay for the bill, and that's a reason that we're going to deny you the green card. That kind of stuff does pop up. I've heard it happen. It's not a regular thing, but it's something to be mindful of. And for other people who are thinking about getting a tourist visa to come to the U.S. to get a green card, they are fighting back and not issuing these visas. So be honest if you're pregnant. But if you had a tourist visa, you come and it's not a problem. make sure to have insurance or pay for it. Don't have an outstanding bill. If you do pay the bill, keep copies of the receipt so you can show that you paid for it, because they could be very problematic nowadays under President Trump. That's something they're seriously cracking down on, this birth of tourism, or people are not paying their hospital bills. So please be mindful of that. In your case, you're an older person, you're above 21. I'm not sure how strict they're going to be for a case that happened probably in the 90s or something like that. But you know, that's the reality of stuff like that exists, and there's nothing you can do about it at this point. Mina asks, we should save for money because we don't have money. What should we do? Yeah, always save money. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Mina. But this is immigration stuff. I don't know about finances. Not a finance show. User girl says, my fiance case is in Kabul, and it's Afghanistan, and he's already had an interview, but it's an administrative processing. So that happens to many cases in Afghanistan. They go into this thing called administrative processing. It's a black hole where people get stuck in and the case doesn't go anywhere. Eventually, you're going to have to file a lawsuit against the embassy to hurry up and make a decision on the case. I don't do lawsuits. I have a colleague who's actually Pashtun as well, if you're Pashtun, but he's from Afghanistan, who does file lawsuits in these kind of cases. So if you email my office, I could connect you with him to see if he could help you to file that lawsuit. So be prepared. That might be the situation that you might have to do to get the case moving. Yeah, this administrative process is a horrible thing. Let's see. User 471 says, if I get my green card dated April 2017, so which year should I apply for citizenship? User 47, I'm not sure if you had asked previously, but typically a person waits 5 years or 4 years and 9 months after that. I don't know the specific date. I have to get a calculator. There's a calculator on the USCIS website for exactly what you're asking for. But unless you've been married and living with the US citizen for 3 years, you're gonna have to wait till probably April 2022 or 3 months before April 2022, maybe January 2022, something like that. I gotta see what's going on there. But again, as I mentioned, you have to look at more than just the dates. There's a lot more personal information about you that we have to review. User girl asks, how do I get in contact with your office? Well, email me. My email is info@jqqlaw.com, or go to my profile page on TikTok. There's a thing called the link tree. It's a link at the top, and it gives links to all my reviews and websites, all that kind of stuff. Just go to one of them that has my contact information. Email me. And let me know, remind me of what the situation is that you have, because I'm not going to remember our discussion here, and give me permission. Say, please connect me with that lawyer, so that way I have your permission to do that, and I'll send a joint email so you could discuss and take it from there, and hopefully that was helpful. User 471, you're welcome. Hopefully I helped. I appreciate your nice words and the happy face. Okay, so yeah, the citizenship question pops up a lot. You could file, typically, let's put aside the 3-year version of it, but on the 5-year version for citizenship, you could file the case 3 months before or 90 days before the 5-year mark comes. Now, but that calculator on USCIS, type in USCIS 90-day naturalization calculator, will pop up and it'll help you out. jqqlaw.com, that's it. That's my website. At the top right, when you go to the website, it'll have my email address as well. On Instagram, Group Rate asks, I have to apply my citizenship on my credit is too low. I just did my settlement with bank. Its effect on my citizenship. Well, they don't right now look at credit history for citizenship. That might change in the future. But what they do look at is taxes, to make sure you filed your taxes when you're supposed to. But not filing taxes is a major issue, so I'd go back and file that if you haven't. Chala asks, hello, sir. I thank you for sharing your precious knowledge with everyone. You're welcome. So I was drinking some water. I wish I could. I forgot to bring some here, so I'm just going to have to struggle along and get through it. User girl says, do you have a phone number? Please don't call my office. Email is the best way, because if you call, I'm just going to say to email me. So just send me an email, and we could do it like that. Okay, so if you have one more question, I think I'm going to call a little bit early today in my throat. I had like meeting after meeting after meeting today. A lot of talking today, so I think I'm giving out. If you can tell, a little bit less energetic than I usually am, but we'll get there. Gaidisha says, I'm waiting for my asylum case pending interview. Yeah, asylum cases sometimes have interviews that might take 3, 4, 5 years to get. So in those kind of cases, just be patient. Make sure to file your work permit and just keep an eye on it for that interview letter. If you move, make sure you update the immigration office that you move. You change your address. You don't want to not let them know where you're living at, so that becomes a problem. So just be careful about this kind of stuff, but in general, you have to be patient with these timeline cases. Things are taking a long time with the immigration system, and so it's just how you got to go. User 3 says, it's smart to get help by a congressperson to speed up an interview. It's probably not going to speed up an interview, but you could give it a shot if you like. It doesn't hurt, but it's probably not going to affect speeding up the interview, because they're just backed up. They're not even doing interviews. So it's kind of a waste of time, but yeah, you could always give it a shot. All right, everyone, thank you so much for watching this episode of the live broadcast. We'll be back here again tomorrow. Today was June 16th, tomorrow June 17th, Wednesday. We're going to be on TikTok, Immigration Lawyer Live, Immigration Lawyer John live as always, but tomorrow is going to be a YouTube live day. So if you're watching on YouTube, you're watching this recording, we're going to be on live on Wednesday. That's when we do YouTube, and we got a lot, it's always a different crew and different apps that are happening, so look forward to that. Thank you everyone who joined. We'll be back again tomorrow 5 p.m. Thank you, Soares, for the flower and nice words. Thank you, Crimson, and sorry everyone who's just joining right now, but we'll be back again tomorrow. Mr. Terms and Conditions, you're welcome. I appreciate everyone watching. Gadish, you're welcome as well. Wow, what's your email? My email is info@jqqlaw.com. God bless everyone. Be safe, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.